Hey everyone, Joe here from Authentic African. Ito and Authentic African have teamed up to give you a chance to win a free holiday to Ghana. Flights included, 4-star hotel, 5 days in Accra from just $4 to enter. Last year, Ito brought Tamara all the way from Texas to Ghana, 5 days in Accra, and this year we're making it even bigger. So in partnership with Ito and Authentic African, we've already announced Amma as our first winner. And the more entries we get, the more winners we unlock. Next one drops at 3,000 entries. Return flights from your nearest international airport, 5 nights in a 4-star hotel, a curated cultural itinerary across Accra. Entry starts from just $4 for 3 entries. Or you can enter completely for free by post, no purchase necessary. If you've ever wanted to experience Ghana for yourself, now is the time. Head to ito.authenticaafrican.com to enter. Just so you know, the competition ends July 31st, so go there now. On behalf of Authentic African and Ito, good luck. We hope to be welcoming you to Ghana very soon. All right. Welcome to This Week in Africa, your weekly live stream where we talk about all things Africa. This is a special edition of This Week in Africa. Our very own Gloria Ayo is en route to Nigeria, and she's actually going to be doing a fundraiser for Cuba. So she is unable to, before she gets to the airport. So she has a busy day today. So she's unable to join today, but we are joined by a very special guest to talk about the Win a Holiday to Ghana contest. We announced it earlier this week. People had lots of questions. So today we are doing a Q&A for those who are asking, and then we have frequently asked questions as well. So we will go through those questions that you guys all had. You asked for it, we got it. Now I'll give a second for our guests to join, but we today will be joined by Margaret Deborah. She is the co-founder of Ito, and Ito is a platform that is an experiential platform that helps people engage across all types of experiences, food, culture, etc. And so, as you might remember, last year, earlier this week, we talked about it. Last year, I actually got a chance to meet the winner of last year's contest. And because of that, I reached out to Margaret and asked her if I could be involved this year. And so this year we're partnering on the Win a Holiday to Ghana. So without further ado, let me bring Maggie on. There she is.
Hi, everyone. Hi.
Hey, so we wanted to do this Q&A today because there were lots of questions, right? We launched on Monday, Tuesday. We did the live stream on Monday, but then on Tuesday, we did a lot of the posts, right? To let everybody know that we were live. And there were lots of questions. We had 40 or 50 people within a couple of hours start doing the outreach and asking about all kinds of different questions. And we just figured in the days since, with all the questions pouring in, and we just thought it'd be best to do a live Q&A so that we can direct people to this if you know anybody who's interested in this contest, and for those who are interested to join. As people join and come online, we want to just make sure that we answer all your questions, and we will try to be watching on Instagram and or YouTube and Facebook, everywhere we are live right now, to answer those questions. First things first, though, maybe I should do an introduction because I didn't even introduce myself. For those of you who are new and who are not familiar with who I am, I'm Joe Hatagwa. I am the founder and CEO of Authentic African Media. And our goal is to help people visit, move, and invest on the continent of Africa. I myself lived on the continent for just about 4 years. I worked full-time for an e-commerce company that's publicly traded on the New York Stock Exchange based in Ghana. I was there for a little over 2.5 years, worked there for over a year. And I also then moved to my home country of Sierra Leone, which I represent every day. And I lived in Sierra Leone, worked as an entrepreneur on my social media agency while in Sierra Leone. I've subsequently moved back to the States. I go back and forth to the States. I spend about 60% of my 50-50, really 50% of my time in New York City, and then the other 50% of my time traveling everywhere. A good 20 to 30% of my time is in West Africa, between Ghana and Sierra Leone, and I do on occasion travel to other places. And then the last thing I'll mention is that we do these live streams weekly to talk about the news of the day on the continent, whether that's specifically in Sierra Leone for those of you who've gotten citizenship there and who are looking for a West African citizenship, which Sierra Leone made available. Same thing for those who are interested in Ghana. We do those bi-weekly. And then, of course, we do a live stream generally on Thursdays to talk about the news across the continent. So that's a bit about me and what the platform does. I do want to give Maggie a chance to talk about Ito and what Ito does. So let me turn it over to you to describe what you do at Ito and how you assist folks in their discovery of culture and the continent.
Yeah. Hi guys, it's Maggie here from Ito. So yeah, Ito is ultimately a media-led African culture platform, and our aim is really to connect the world to Africa through community and commerce. So today, as Ito stands, we ultimately are a discovery and storytelling platform. So we teach people how to cook African cuisine, and we also showcase African brands, starting with food brands. And I guess with Ito, we're a trusted space. For us, we love and we celebrate our culture, but we know not every service provider sometimes gives you a good product or service. So at Ito, we do take time in the back end to really do our due diligence around businesses before we put it in front of you. So ultimately, what I'm trying to say is, if Ito's approved, then you know it's going to be a quality experience. Yeah.
100%. And randomly I saw a viral video of Akon agreeing with Idris Elba that Sierra Leone jollof needs to be more touted, and people need to know what it is, because people always talk about Ghana and Nigeria jollof, but Salon jollof is up there. Anyway, I know that's a random discussion, but I always have to make that known when we're talking to people who work in the food space, because Sierra Leone always gets left out of the discussion. So with that, would love to jump into the questions, because there were a lot. And also there are a lot that I think we can clarify. So what I'd love to do is just kind of walk through them one by one. And we'll get to them. So first of all, what is this? Was it ambidextrous? My family needs a vacation, so you know what to do. Head over to authenticafrican.com and sign up. Okay, so I do want to start with the first group of questions around eligibility. This eligibility question came up a lot. I had people asking me sometimes in jest. I had people asking me seriously, specifically on the continent. I had a lot of questions in my on WhatsApp. And so that question specifically was, can anyone from Africa join the contest, excuse me?
Yes, it's open to Africans. The only thing we say is that you need a valid passport. So as long as you have a valid passport and there's an airport that flies international from your country, because again, we are not chartering planes, then yes, you can enter the competition. So yeah, just as long as you have a passport and international flights operate from your country, then you can enter the competition from anywhere in Africa.
So the secondary question was, do I have to live in the US or the UK? But you've already answered that. One of the questions is, do I need to have African heritage to enter?
No. I mean, no. It's open to everyone. I think the key thing we're doing at Ito is we really are a platform that celebrates African culture, but it's not just for Africans to celebrate their own culture. It's also open to non-Africans. So no, you don't. It's open to everyone.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, there's no way for us to tell, right? We wouldn't have a vetting system to do that anyway. So, although both of our brands are focused on Africa, we're Africa centered. We can't do a DNA test for every contest winner, right? So, there's just no way. So yes, it has to be available to everyone. So for those asking, that is going to be the case. Now, is there an age limit? That came up as a question.
Yeah, so you have to be 18 years and over, I'm afraid. we can't budge on that. You know, this competition is not for minors. You have to be an adult, a legal adult.
Right. Yes. You have to. Absolutely. There's just that's an easy one. You get that.
Yeah.
So you already answered the question about the passport. Now, this was a question that somebody had. Can I enter for someone else or as a gift for someone?
Yes, you can enter for someone else, but once the winner is announced, so let's just say you buy a ticket and you've assigned the name to someone else. Once the winner is announced, we can't transfer that ticket, but you can enter for other people. So you can buy it as a gift for someone, yes, certainly. But what I would say in that case, if you are doing that, put their name when you enter the competition. You can put your email address, etc., but just put their name.
There it is. So make sure you communicate that upon entering. So those are the questions in terms of eligibility.
Okay.
Now, in terms of like entering and how it works, there is a question on how people actually can enter, right? There's a question about the three different paid options and the free to post option. So can you walk through the different options and ways that you can enter as a applicant for this contest?
Yeah, so we have 3 ways that you can enter, which is you buy your ticket, and it starts from $4 and you would get free tickets for that. Then the next tier is $20 and you get 15 entries, and then the final is $50 and then you get 50 entries. Now, if you want to, so with the paid for tickets, you can enter as many times as you want. We also have a free tier, but you would need to send your entry in via post, and the details are on the website. So if you go on the website, you could check it out there, but you would have to send via post, and you can only, with the free entry, you can only enter once. Only once. That's it.
There it is. And so that is the ways, those are the ways to enter. Somebody has to ask, is it actually free to enter if you want to enter for free?
Yeah, I mean, guys.
By post.
Sorry, I shouldn't be laughing.
By post, we mean by mail, by the way. For those of you in America, snail mail, right? Through the
by mail. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, it's free. You just send in your entry and that's it. But you only get one entry. It's not complicated, guys. It's not complicated.
There was a question of, do free postal entries have the same chance as paid ones?
Well, the thing is, you know, with our paid tier, you pay $4 and you get free entries automatically. With the free tier, you get one entry. So just looking at that from basic, obviously, if you pay, you have more chance of winning. However, every entry is included in the raffle. So every entry is included in the raffle. But as you know, the more entries you have, the more likely you're going to win. So it depends on how much do you want this? How much do you want to be in Ghana and be hosted by Ito? You decide.
Yeah, and on that point, the question about, does paying more actually improve your odds?
Yeah, it does.
Obviously, the more entries you have, the more chances you have to possibly win, right? It's a randomizer that selects the based on an entry. So, you know, the more entries you have, the more likely it is you are to win. I saw somebody yesterday do multiple entries themselves, so they also understood that they wanted to increase their chances.
And I think our winner last year, Tamara, she actually entered quite a few times. I remember she did enter quite a few times, and then she ended up winning. And we flew her out from the US, so that was quite exciting.
Yes, stay tuned. There will be we'll be having a conversation with Tamara very soon, and we'll be sharing that with you all shortly. So stay tuned for that. When does this particular contest close?
Yeah, so the contest closed on the 31st of July, 2026. because we need to give ourselves time to obviously take in all the entries and then announce the winners, as well as prepare for the competition. So for our 2026 competition, the window really is December 2026 to January 2027. So, and we don't want to really go outside of that period. So it's important that we kind of have a cutoff, and that is the cutoff. Yeah. So guys, get your entries in and share. Get your entries in and share. That's all I can say.
Absolutely. So here's a question from LV99 Slacker. Does this trip have to happen on a certain date or within a certain time frame?
Yeah, so it has to happen between December 2026 and January 2027. And the reason why we say this is because this experience is going to be a group experience. So it's not just one winner we're looking to fly out. Though we've announced the first winner, we want it to be a group experience. And the reason why we've and for that reason, everyone, so once the winners are announced, we communicate with the winners and we find the perfect time to book the flight to secure the day. But the reason why we're doing it this way from our perspective as well is that you know, Ghana is a developing African country. So whilst there are things to do outside of this window, we just feel it's a great experience for people to fly in either in December or early January, just because there's so many more events happening, even outside of the experience that Ito is going to give you. So an example of this is last year, our competition winner, Tamara, she flew in on, when did she fly in? I think it was Christmas Eve. And she was in Ghana until the new year. And ultimately, she had her experiences with Ito. But as I said on the other live call, after her experiences with Ito, you know, there was just so much happening in Accra that it just made sense for her to connect with other people and also see, you know, Accra's nightlife, all the other things Ghana has to offer. And fortunately for us, Joe was also in Ghana during that period, so he was able to kind of show her a really good time. So yeah, we do say for the winners that is the window, and honestly it's just because it's the best time to give you a really good sorry about that. It's just the best time to give you a really good experience when it comes to Ghana. Yeah. Trust us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, go on, Joe. Sorry.
No, 100%. And I do think it's important to know that, you know, yes, that's the best time to experience it. And, you know, we are looking at a time frame that that makes sense for a group experience, right? You know, Tamara, as you mentioned, last year was there during the height of the season. And as you mentioned, I got a chance to meet her and went to a couple of events. And she actually extended her stay, right? So she actually had gone on to stay a little bit longer because she was so excited about the time that she had spent there. And so I anticipate folks would do that again this year because once you get on the ground and you feel the vibes, you don't want to.
You don't want to leave Ghana. It's such a vibe.
And the reason for the July 31st entry end date is to give ample time for people to be able to take off of work, right? There are many folks who require 6 months plus because maybe it's not a company policy, but it might be their manager's policy or whoever they report to, and that gives them plenty of time. So there's no excuses from the employer that you can't go, right? So regardless of your career choice, you have that time. So I know it's a short window for people to enter between June now and to the 31st of July, but we wanted to ensure that people had ample time to be able to get time off from their employer and, you know, deal with any other personal things that they might have to deal with.
And you also want to save as well. So another thing to add is that we take care of the flights, we take care of the accommodation, and also any experiences through Ito is on us. So your breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then the experiences will be covered. But I mean, if you're coming to Ghana, you should also have a pot to use. I mean, you're going to experience African fashion. There's just so much nightlife. So you need a budget, guys. You actually need a budget. So I think it just makes sense to prepare you so you can have if you are the winner or one of the winners, you can have the best time in Ghana.
Yeah, absolutely. There are plenty of events to do in December. I'm somebody who does a lot of these things because I shoot content. I probably would not have gone to many of these things otherwise, but I went to see Beanie Man in person. I went to see Busta Rhymes in person. I went to Afrofuture, where we saw a ton of different Afrobeats artists performing at Afrofuture. And that was all within a 1 week period, right? So, I also went to a number of other events that were paid for events, right? These things they do have events going on in December outside of what we're providing and as part of this experience. And so, yeah, having spending money to do some of the additional nightlife activities is definitely recommended. Um, so Eugene Jones joined a little bit late, but he said he missed the beginning. What were we entering and how do we cast our entry? I think we really just explained that. This is for a trip to Ghana, a holiday to Ghana. We announced it earlier this week. So this is a Q&A where we're going through the questions that people asked. There are 2 different ways that you can enter. You can enter online, and there are 3 different there are 3 different tiers that you can do the paid entries, and then there's a free entry that you can do via post, which is mail. You can send the mail, you can do a mail in. But also, if you have any questions and you're joining the live stream right now, one of the things you can do, especially if you're joining on YouTube, or Facebook, if I'm not mistaken, you can just take your cursor and slide it all the way back to the beginning. Or if there's anything you might have missed and you're joining now, you can also just watch the replay back when the replay happens itself. LV99 Slacker said, thank you for answering their question. Time to get a family passports. Afrofuture is, Afrofuture.
I love it. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Everyone in America, you should really look to have your passport. I know America, there's a lot of different states, etc. But now is the time for you guys to be, coming back home and connecting with your African roots. So even outside of the competition, I would encourage everyone in our community to apply for their passport. That's just so essential. I mean, I've had my passport since I was a child,
Right. Well, I definitely think that people who are in families of immigrants almost always have passports. I think what you have is those who, most people in most places never leave their city, let alone their state, especially in the United States. And something like 25% of people in the United States have passports. So it's a very small percentage of people. So, but this is a way to get you your passport and to get you out of your city. For those of you who never even traveled outside of a city before, this gives you the opportunity to do that. And so definitely recommend you go out and get your passport, whether for this or anything else. You never know when it can become useful. Definitely recommend it as a form of ID and, to be able to allow you to even go to neighboring countries. If you want to go to Mexico, you want to go to Canada, you need a passport. So I definitely recommend it for sure, 100%. I'm just checking to see if there are any questions on Instagram because there were a lot of people joining. Some folks from Nigeria.
Hey.
Yes, I have a card, 33 answers. Okay, so this is divine confirmation that I'm definitely going to get to Africa this year.
I love it.
To the motherland. That's what Goat Goddess says. Goat Goddess of Abundance says that. Okay, nice.
I love that.
Literally have the How Long to Black Future Month book. Okay. So, and then Goat Goddess says I'm passport ready. Nice.
Nice.
Supposed to be going to Africa. So lots of comments. I'm actually supposed to be going to Africa this month, but because of the trafficking, I haven't been paid since January. Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, sorry about that.
Well, enter this contest and hopefully you win. So somebody asked a question outside of this, but it is a question, so we might as well answer it. What combination of countries would you recommend for 3 weeks in West Africa in April? That is outside the realm of this Q&A, but I don't know if you have an answer to that. I have an answer, but I can. Yes,
can I say? Let me go. So I would say, obviously, Ghana. Outside of this competition, you definitely need to come to Ghana. Everyone needs to experience Ghana at least once in their life. I would say Senegal as well. I've only been to Dakar, But I remember, you know, the people were very welcoming and they had really good jollof rice. So you want to go to Senegal. And then I would say Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast is definitely a great place to visit. I would say Nigeria, but I love Nigeria, but I'm like, you know, I've got a lot of Nigerian friends. So, and it's almost like I'm Nigerian in spirit, but it may not be for everyone. So if you are like, you know, a go-getter, fast-paced, you know how to handle yourself, then I say I would include Nigeria on the list. If you're an introvert, a bit more reserved, I would take Nigeria off the list and wait until you have a group that can host you in Nigeria. I've been to Nigeria alone several times, but again, I'm a bit different. Joe, and obviously, sorry, Joe, I didn't mention your company, but I think a country both have been.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, see, so I would love to put Sierra Leone on that list, but here, let me just be fair and be honest for those who are coming to the continent for the first time. I don't know if you're coming to the continent for the first time, the person who asked that question, but you're going to want to go to places that you can have a couple of experiences. West Africa, you have two types of experiences. You have the historical truth and reconciliation, knowledge of history and understanding of where you may have been trafficked from and what that experience was like prior to coming to the Americas. And I think it's really important to get those experiences so you can get that in all four of the countries, well, three of the four countries that you mentioned, Senegal, Nigeria, Ghana. Ghana is most known for having kind of the balance of both. They have the most slave castles because that was one point of transportation throughout the transatlantic slave trade. Senegal also does have some historical context there, and same thing with certain areas of Nigeria as well. But for those of you who are looking for both more advanced infrastructure and also that historical context and the nightlife, then the countries that were mentioned are all good countries to go to. So as you mentioned, Senegal, Ivory Coast, Nigeria, and Ghana. In terms of first-time travelers and those of you who don't know and don't have people on the ground, just a couple caveats. Senegal is a French-speaking country.
Yeah.
Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast is French-speaking as well. People do speak English there, but their predominant language is French and or local dialects, right? Nigeria, as you mentioned, is fast-paced. If those of you who like to travel aren't interested in traveling to like a city like New York City, and you don't want to go to a place like New York City where the infrastructure is not going to be at the same level of New York City, then you wouldn't want to go to Nigeria somewhere like Lagos. So maybe Accra, Dakar, and Abidjan are three cities that you might want to go to. Also keep in mind, if you don't have a West African passport, you would have to get a visa for each of those countries.
Yeah.
So, or an African passport in general, because if you have an African passport in general, you can go to Ghana with a visa. You just don't have to pay for the visa. So those are things to keep in mind. If you want to go to multiple countries, you have to get multiple visas. So this is what ambidextrous says. Oh, I get it. It's a play on words, like ambidextrous, but ambidextrous. Bought my entries. Well done. Website 2025 pics. Okay. So, well, good luck to you, ambidextrous. And I'm glad you were able to get your entry. So good luck to you. Let me see if there are any other questions on Instagram. Some other people said Ghana, Gambia, and Senegal. Some people said Ghana and Senegal. People throughout Kenya. That is not West Africa, though. They have a question specifically about West Africa. Let's see if there are any other questions. Ghana, Senegal, Benin. Somebody else. Benin is a notable entry as well.
Okay.
Okay. So let me see if there's anything else. So that was a good question. It took us a little bit off track. Sorry. Let's get back on track to the questions that we're here to answer for this contest. So specifically, the question is, do I need to sort out my own visa?
No, so yes, you would need to cover the cost of your visa, but Ito can support you. So we are very connected. So we can definitely support you in getting that over the line. So last year when Tamara came, during the period that the window we have, usually the Ghanaian government allow for visa on arrival. So last year when Tamara came, we just helped her arrange the visa on arrival. So yeah, so we can support you, but it's something you just have to cover the cost of the visa. Yeah.
Yes, good point. And so there was also a question on, is travel insurance included?
No, so you have to get your own travel insurance. You have to get your own travel insurance. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, there was a question also on what's the website to apply. It is ito.authenticafrican.com. I'm putting it in the comments here, and then let me add it as a banner at the bottom so that let's see, ito.authenticafrican.com. So there we go. We have a banner scrolling across the screen. So anybody who's joining and has any questions, just look there and just read that and just type that into your browser. As soon as the live stream's done, or if you're ready to book now, you can book in another browser. Just don't go anywhere because we're going to answer all your questions here. So there was a question, is because this was an Ito initiative originally, we wanted to make sure that we talked about who we are a little bit. So first of all, the first question was, is this real? So can you speak to whether or not this is real and what happened last year?
Yeah, it is real. Ito is a registered company. You can search, and then in terms of the competition, it's very much real. So last year was our first ever run of the competition, and the winner was Tamara. Unfortunately, we only had enough entries to take one winner, and we flew Tamara from the US into Ghana, and you can see her experience on our competition page. So we've literally documented her experience. So it very much is a real competition, and it also is a competition that we're looking to do annually. And the reason why we're doing it as a company is because for us, you know, we are a digital platform. So the majority of time people discover Ito online, and they learn how to cook with us online, they discover other brands online. And we just felt with the competition, it's just a nice way to basically have someone experience African food, but rather than have them experience it in the diaspora, it's just come home and experience it in Ghana. And it speaks to Ito's story because I birthed Ito in Ghana, though I was born and raised in the UK, London, but my mum and dad are Ghanaian. So when it came to building the company, I actually went back home to Ghana. You know, I found some very talented individuals, from chefs through to production crew, etc. And I just said, guys, this is the vision I have for this company. Let's just build. And we started in Ghana. So for us, it's also a way for you to kind of understand Ito's journey and like the environment we've been in. And I just think when it comes to Ghanaian food / African food, there's no better place to enjoy it than on the continent. Unfortunately, it is a competition as well, so we can't fly everyone. There is going to be a select amount of winners, but we are a digital platform, so everything we do, we document it, and you can see that by, if you go to our Instagram and just type Ito Network, you can kind of see the work we've done over the years. And then again, when it comes to the competition, we documented Tamara's experience, and we will be documenting the winners for the 2026 experience. So that's another thing. If you don't like being on camera, maybe this competition isn't for you, because we will be documenting the experience. So yeah.
100%. And yes, and then just for those of you from the Ito side and you're not familiar with Authentic African Media, we've been around since 2019. I just actually changed another business name over to Authentic African, which actually I have that business since 2015. So, you know, we're registered in the United States. We also registered in Sierra Leone as well as a business under Hatagwa Enterprises. So obviously I have a very public profile We've been online since 2019. You might know that we do these live streams weekly. If you guys aren't aware, we do weekly live streams. So you can always find us. It's easy to find who I am, what I'm up to. And yeah, and you can follow my entire journey, moving and living on the continent of Ghana. All of it is there on YouTube for you to see. The house building process, buying land on the continent, etc. So if you have any questions about who I am and what I'm up to, you can just go to Authentic African on any platform and you can see. Also, just in terms of, yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, and how did we come together? Do you want to say?
Yes, so we actually were introduced through one of my subscribers, YOA is her name online, and she had mentioned that you're cousins, right?
Yeah,
right? So Ya has always been a great collector and connector of people. And so she had been joining the live streams for quite some time, and she joined the live stream. And by the way, Ya is she does talking drums travel. She helps people travel to Tanzania, Ghana, and other places on the continent. And we had been in touch. She actually did a trip for a friend of mine who was from Sierra Leone that went to Tanzania, and Ya did her trip for her. And after that, she had mentioned to me that her cousin has a business in Ghana, and she said I should be interviewing her because she has this interesting business, and she is, born and raised in the UK, moved, was living and spending time in Ghana, and that's who I tend to feature on the platform. So she made the intro, and we did a live stream first, right? We did the live stream first. We did 2 live streams and an in-person interview. We met in person 2 years after we met online. We've been in communication and talks since, and also we share resources. So my videographer, who shoots a lot of content for me, who shot that intro video you saw at the beginning of this video, now also works with Maggie as well. So lots of interconnected and intertwined connectivity there. Yeah.
And I just think it's honestly God's grace and God's blessing, because again, we met 2 years ago. I've witnessed Joe continue to build the Authentic Africa platform, which I think is amazing. And I think everyone should really get behind what he's doing with that platform. And for us, it's just been a natural evolution of, though I've come on previous lives and I've discussed my move back to Ghana, how I left investment banking, and the work I'm doing in Ghana, it's just nice that we've been able to come together and partner. And I think, sorry, not to take it off topic, but when you look at everything that's going on in the world, especially now what we're seeing in South Africa, etc., it's just nice that us Africans, Black people, Caribbeans can just come together and collaborate and partner and not see each other as competition, right? You could have run your own competition, I could have run my own competition, but where does that get us? By us coming together, you have a strong media platform. I understand the culture, I understand food, I understand quality service. So it just kind of made sense for us to, rather than running independently, just partner on such a project. And I think as a community, more of us need to come together on our projects as well. Sorry to go on.
100%. Yeah, I think we operate in silos and we should stop doing that, right? That happens too much. So we're practicing what we preach, because these are things I talk about all the time. So in terms of the questions on, is this real, right? You can see Tamara's entire experience here, and we will be talking to Tamara, as I mentioned, in the near future, and we'll be bringing her on. But you can, if you just go to the Ito.Authentic African website, you will be able to watch a couple of videos from her experience. We have 5 up here on the site. And there'll be more content to share shortly. Now, back to the Q&A. There was a question because I had mentioned travel insurance before. LV99 Slacker is asking, are there any travel insurance companies you recommend?
So, I mean, from the UK, I tend to kind of use the ones here. I don't know with the US. So I think what you should do is just do a search. I don't want to recommend or give any advice when it comes to travel insurance in case it goes the wrong way. So I just think you should just do an independent search and maybe ask close friends and family. I think ultimately, in terms of your travel insurance, make sure it covers illness, make sure it covers, you know, any disruptions with airlines, and they give you a good buffer in terms of compensation, and really read the small print, the detail. But by God's grace, you won't even need to exercise your travel insurance. But I think just do independent research. We're not authorized to kind of like recommend. Yeah.
There it is. Okay, so now on to the question of does the prize cover a travel companion or a +1 or the winner only?
No, just the winner only. Just the winner only. So if you want, I mean, the chances are quite slim for two people of the same family to, you know, win a competition together, but you would have to enter separately and see where your luck lies. But it only covers the winner. It doesn't cover a travel companion. But guys, do not worry. So I think the reason why, you know, no one really wants to travel alone. But the reason why we're doing this year's competition as a group, because we also understand that. But what we think it would be really cool is for all the winners to be flown in, and then you basically, you know, you meet a new network of people, and then at the same time, Ito's hosting the trip, so we will be on the ground with you. So last year, Tamara, she flew into Accra, and then, you know, for majority of her experiences, Rookie, who is one of who works at Ito, literally took her around. So you're not left alone. And then also, as I mentioned, we open you up to our network. So last year when Tamara was in Accra, we introduced her to Joe, and then she ended up going to all these other concerts, you know, outside of the Ito experience. So we do look after you. As soon as you arrive in Accra, you know, we get someone to pick you up from the airport, and you're pretty much looked after until you leave Accra. So don't worry, even if you win and you come by yourself, you're going to have the best time.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it doesn't mean you can't also, outside of this experience, buy a separate ticket for someone else, right? So if you were planning to go and, you know, two may be too expensive, then you get one for free, and, you know, the flight, and then you can have someone else fly out, and, you know, they can cover their own costs of the events themselves, or you can meet up for nightlife and whatever else. But it doesn't mean you can't bring someone with you. It's just not covered under the contest.
Yeah.
So there's a question of, can a winner take a cash alternative or transfer the prize if they can't travel during the December travel period?
No, so you can't take a cash alternative. The whole idea is that you're winning a competition. It's, you know, to win a holiday to Ghana. It's not to win cash. And then in terms of the window is the window. So ultimately you have to be able to travel between December 2026 and January 2027. If you cannot travel during that window, I would say don't enter, guys. Don't enter, because we can't, unfortunately, we can't personalize it too much. The whole idea is to bring a group, and everyone else that wins, they're going to be able to travel during that window. So for us to, you know, say, oh, we can't book because of you, it's just unfair for the whole experience. So yeah, no.
Yeah. And that window, by the way, is the end of December, early January, right? Yeah. So that would be the window. Specific dates. Remember, it's 5 days, right? So just keep that in mind. And in that window, you'd have to be able to travel. Here's a question that was interesting. We talked about Africa in general, but can someone already in Ghana enter? Somebody asked me that actually recently.
Yeah, so if you're in Ghana, you can enter definitely. Because remember, Accra is just one. So the competition is held in Accra. However, there's other cities in Ghana, right? So let's just say you're in Kumasi. We will book you a domestic flight into Accra, and then you still get access to accommodation for the 5 days. Now, if you live in Accra, obviously there's nowhere for us to fly you to. You're already in the city. However, we will arrange transportation, a car to pick you up and bring you to the hotel. And then we recommend that you stay at the hotel for the 5 days. So yes, if you're in Ghana, you can definitely enter the competition. It's open to you. It just depends on your appetite for it. But I would say if you're in Ghana, enter the competition, because again, this is an Ito created experience. So you part of the itinerary, you might not have done stuff on the itinerary before, so it's still a great experience for you either way. Yeah.
One other question is, are there any countries that cannot take part in the travel to Ghana or win a holiday to Ghana contest?
I mean, I say a specific country right now, I can't do that. But ultimately, if the country doesn't have an international airport that we can fly you out from, then you cannot enter the competition, because there will be,
or if they're not allowed to travel to Ghana, right?
Yeah, or if they're not allowed to travel to Ghana. So I think then, it's more for people entering the competition to kind of do research from the country you're in and seeing, are you eligible to travel from your country into Ghana? So that's kind of research you have to do yourself. But ultimately, if you have a passport and it's a valid passport and there is an international airport, then we will fly you into Accra. I mean, for me, it would just be so cool if we had someone come in for this competition. We had someone come in from the US, someone from a country in Europe, the UK, other parts of Africa, and then we brought you all into Accra. That would be amazing. Yeah.
Absolutely. And as of right now, there's no universal banned countries from traveling to Ghana at the point of this recording today.
Yeah.
But obviously entering the country is entirely dependent on securing the correct travel authorization, visas, etc. So certain countries are more strict with traveling outside of those countries. North Korea, for example. So if you're watching this and you're in North Korea somehow, some way, you'd have to get the authorization to travel. But in general,
sorry,
unlikely. It's something that you should know, that just make sure you understand the laws of your land when entering a contest like this. So those were the major questions that came up. I just want to double check to see if there's any new questions that have come in through Instagram and others. It looks like, but any other thoughts and ideas you want to mention to folks as we begin to wrap this up?
Yeah, no, I think the key thing is, especially if you're new to Ito, I would definitely say follow us on social media. We do have a cookbook out as well, so you can check out the links in our bio to see our cookbook options. But ultimately, if you're interested in African culture, African food, and you want a trusted platform to discover, then you definitely need to be following Ito. And ultimately, over the next coming weeks, I have committed to coming on live to talk more about the competition, talk more about the platform. So even if you're not comfortable to enter now, feel free to log into future lives. We are going to get Tamara in. We are going to answer more questions. And then again, by following us on social media, you can also see what we offer. So only until you're comfortable, enter the competition. But Ito's not going anywhere. Authentic Africa is not going anywhere. And guys, I've been pushing, this competition just has to stay, because I just think it's, I remember when I was in school, if there was organizations like this growing up, I would have loved to enter, especially back then when I didn't have a budget to do much. So, what we try to do at Ito is we understand our community. We're building a company, we're building a platform here, but we understand what our community needs, and where we can, we're going to try to give back. And I think this is just an initiative that I want to see every year, and I want it to get bigger and bigger. And who knows, we might even one year be able to expand it to another African country. So, I'm really excited, to be honest. I'm really excited. And I really just want this to be a group experience. Like, I'm so ready for this.
Absolutely. And as mentioned before, the more total people that enter, the more people that can come on this trip. So those of you who are, entering right now, tell your friends, make sure they enter, share the links. I saw some people sharing on Instagram, so we appreciate you. Send them on WhatsApp, whoever and however you can get in touch with folks. Definitely recommend that you share this with them. Also, yes, if you haven't already, subscribe to Authentic African and follow Authentic African across all platforms. We are on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Twitter X, whatever you want to call it, Twitter X, whatever it's called today, TikTok, Facebook, and a few other platforms. Did you have another question?
Yeah, and just to let you guys know, so we had an issue with our PayPal yesterday. So for anyone that tried to enter the competition yesterday, we had an issue with the PayPal, but it's up and running now. So please go back and complete your entry. Yeah, that's it.
Yes, that is a very important point. So if you got that doom scroll, not doom scroll, sorry, if you got that spinning wheel of death that you get sometimes with the PayPal link, just go back now. It's all available, and you can pay through a multitude of ways. You can pay through PayPal and PayPal itself. You can pay with card, and you can pay with Apple Pay. Those are the ways that you can pay today. We may expand those, but today those are the ways that you can pay. So if you have any one of those payment methods, feel free to head over to ito.authenticafrican.com in order to enter the competition. And with that, thanks for watching. We will see you all on the next live stream. Bye, guys.
Guys, bye. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.